Well, yeah, you can start it and then I'll describe everything. All the rules. Just let me know when you started, Alex. Okay, cool. All right, hi everyone. Thank you for coming to the debate for the president and VPA of our general election. I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement. So I want to acknowledge that St. FX is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. The territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik for peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1725. The treaties did not deal with surrender of the lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik titles and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. I'm currently in Barrie, Ontario, and I want to acknowledge that Barrie is on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, which include Ottawa, Ojibwe, Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. All right. So everyone knows me. I'm Rebecca. I'm the acting chair of council. And why don't we go through and do a little intros for our elections team? Ashley can go first if you'd like.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and I'm one of this year's returning officers.
Cole,
Hello, my name is Cole. I'm also one of the Students' Union returning officers.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, and I'm the Chief Returning Officer.
Awesome. Thanks, ROs. Love ya. So for the debates, we're going to be asking everyone 3 questions along with our opening and closing statements. You have 1 minute for your opening and closing statements and 2 minutes for your response to the questions. Ashley will be giving a thumbs up on Zoom, like the little reaction thumbs up, when you have 10 seconds left of your response time. So please keep an eye out for that. If you do go over, I'm just going to mute you. So please don't go over because it's kind of awkward if I just mute you. Sarah is going to talk about one thing about our debate for viewers, and then we'll get into opening statements. So go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so we just wanted to thank everybody for coming to the debate because it's so important to not only vote in the election, but also being an informed voter and making sure that you're voting for the candidate that you know will represent your interests. So that being said, we will be having a draw for all of the students that vote and post on their Instagram story on the day of the campaign. However, for all of you folks that are here, you get a little something extra. You'll get an extra draw in our overall draw. So you'll get an extra ticket in the draw. So if you're watching at home right now, take a picture of you watching the debate at any time and send it to @TheUOfficial, and you'll get an extra draw to win a $25 Starbucks gift card. So great. And Rebecca, do you want me to get started with our questions?
Yeah, for sure. We'll start with our presidential candidates with opening statements first. So Sophia, we'll go first with Sophia, then Brendan and Drew, and then Naomi can go, and then we'll get into our questions. Oh, Drew has a hand up first. What's up, Drew?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that, I think it's a request. So, Matt McLachlan, that has been our marketing manager, has been recently diagnosed with cancer. So if we just say thank you before he has been here for 2-3 debates ever since I was there. So if we just say thank everybody to him, I think he's not here today, but let's just support him by just saying that, even though he's not here, if that's okay with everybody.
That's great. Do you want to kind of stay on, Drew, and we'll say a big hi to Matt?
My camera on?
Yeah, camera's on. All of us say a big hi to Matt.
Yep. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Matt.
Hi, Matt.
There's also a GoFundMe fundraiser out now that the Students' Union has put up, so we can visit that on any of the Students' Union social medias on Facebook or Instagram. So check that out as well.
Yeah.
And now we'll get into opening statements. Sophia, you can go ahead.
Well, hi, everybody. My name's Sophia Fabiano. I'm a third-year biology student from Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm really excited to be here running in the presidential campaign. My platform hits a lot of different pillars, including residents' concerns and how to advocate better for students and residents, whether we're still in COVID or moving out of COVID next year, as well as increasing our off-campus advocacy. We always try and up it every year, and I want to push it even further to ensure that all of our students are well looked after. as well as continuing the push for open educational resources to lower the cost for students attending certain classes that have textbooks. And I also really want to address some of the parking issues we had on campus this year and really make a push for a higher standard of mental health services on campus because I think we really need it. So yeah, that's me. And yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. We'll go to Brendan now.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Brendan Roberts. I'm also running to be your president of the Students' Union next year. Just a little bit about myself. I'm in my second year of public policy and governance. I actually just transferred, so I'm super excited to be a PGov baddie. Before we really get started, I just want to give a couple quick thank yous. Firstly, I want to thank the elections team just for putting in so much work this election, setting up this debate. I want to thank the other candidates that are here today. This is a lot. It's a big, crazy time in our lives. So I just want to, thank you guys, just start you out a bit. And I also want to thank everyone who's tuned in and watching at home. I'm sure many of us can agree that the best part about St. FX is the community that the student body works so hard to foster year after year. And I think that what's so special about the tight-knit community and what gives the X-Ring its meaning and the values is that tight-knit community. And we need someone who's going to be able to ensure that the campus community is a space that everyone can call home, and that the Students' Union ensures that all students feel like their voices are being heard. So I'll touch a bit more about my platform in a bit in the next couple questions. But yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Brendan. And now, Drew, you can go.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Patel, and my hometown is Vadodara, that is in India. So I was born and grew up in India. That makes sense that I'm an international student and one of the first ones to run for president. So I'm really proud of it. One thing that I want to tell everybody that I'm really extremely grateful of everybody that has been helping me throughout the campaign and elections teams and like everybody. So that's one thing. And touching a little bit on my campaign. So my primary components of my platform are sustainability, institutional sustainability, and then addressing issues related to mental health and unhealthy masculinity. And another component that is very integral to my platform is improving inclusion, diversity, and inclusion, diversity in the university and the union. So thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Now our Vice President Academic candidate, Naomi Stobart, can go ahead with their opening statement.
Hi, folks. My name is Naomi Stobart. I am going into my 5th year of PGov. I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and my platform has 3 main tenets. So these core tenets are accessibility and well-being, collaborative advocacy, and approachable academics. Academics are holistic and are impacted by many factors when you're a student. This can include things from mental health, housing, access to nutrition, and of course, affordability. And I want to provide students with the resources as well as knowledge of resources they need to succeed inside and outside of the platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So Cole and Sarah will be asking the questions for our president and vice president academic candidates. We'll be going back and forth for questions addressed to presidents and VPA. So Sarah, you can go ahead first and ask your question.
All right, guys. So we are going to be going over our first round of debate questions. So let's go, President. We're going to be starting this off with Brendan. And Brendan, please tell us, what past experiences do you have that will prepare you to be the president?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. And this is a great question. I'd say that I have a lot of experience. I'm only in my 2nd year, as I pointed out in my introduction, but I think that given the fact that last year I was the first year representative on council, which gave me a very holistic, high-level view of what the Students' Union is. And this year in my role as Vice President of Finance and Operations, which has given me a lot more of a day-to-day insights kind of operational side of things, or view of things. And I think that together, those 2 roles really give me the abilities and the necessary skills that I'll need to be able to be the president of the Students' Union. Just in this past year, In my role as Vice President of Finance and Operations, I was able to help open a convenience store for the Students' Union, as well as complete one of our strategic goals of moving the Kevin's Corner Food Resource Center up into second floor Bloomfield. So those are just two kind of topics that kind of demonstrate my ability to take action on certain projects and lead teams of people to enact those projects. I also just think that being as involved on campus as I am, I'm still living on campus. I'm actually in Somers, taking the debate from Somers right now. But I think that being on campus kind of has given me a bit of a pretty good pulse of what the vibe of campus is and what the student body wants. And I think that those are all really, really valuable tools and skills that will help me be able to be the next student union president.
Great, thank you. And Drew, can you answer the same question? And do you want me to repeat it?
Sure, no, definitely. I can answer the question. So that's a really great question, by the way. And I can assure that I would be a really good Students' Union president because I have spent almost 2 years in Students' Council as International Students Representative and Board of Governors Students Representative. So talking a little bit about my journey as International Students Representative. So I got elected in my second year as International Students Representative, and I tried to do quite a bit of work with the health and dental plan, and we tried to get MSI for international students, which is definitely an amazing, and it was a great campaign area over there. And we also got Diwali dinners and different things started at Meal Hall, so that really brings good equity, diversity, and inclusion perspective on the table. On the other hand, my experience as Board of Governors, as we all know that President sits on the Board of Governors committees and the Board of Governors all the meetings. So it gives me a really good perspective of how board works and how we can pursue things right there. Even in my role of Board of Governors, as I have been working there, has really provided me good information about how to deal with things and how to deal with university administration in order to represent student body. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Drew. And Sophia?
Hi, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so I've been at X for 3 years now, and all 3 of those years I've worked for the U in various tiers. So in first year, I was a House Council member in MSB, which got me some really ground level working with other peers and students to bring events and other things into MSB. And that got me really interested in working for the U. So in second year, I applied to be the SUCL and MSB, and I got the job, and I was super excited. I was able to spend the year liaising between students in my residence and the former VPRA. And especially during a COVID time, I garnered so much experience dealing with such a interesting time on campus and being able to advocate for people that I was living with and people that I knew. And I wanted to broaden that, so then I applied to be the Vice President of Residence Affairs, and I got that position as well. So that's what I've been doing this past year. And that job put me in a position to work a lot with various aspects of campus. I've been spending a lot of time working with this year's group of SUCLs. I work very closely with student life and res life, and I have great working relationships with both those departments, which I think is a great advantage to being able to advocate better for students. As well, in my second year, I worked for intramurals, so I have lots of various experiences across campus. I really enjoyed working for intramurals and getting to organize some sports for students and talk to students about recreation and stuff like that. And I think I just want to move into the next year, if I'm elected as president, to continue to create better connections with students across campus, faculty, staff, admin, in order to really push forward advocacy goals and other physical goals as best as possible for students.
Great, thank you, Sophia. And Cole, do you want to take it away with our VPA question?
Sure thing. So this question is for our sole Vice President academic candidate, Naomi. In a similar strain to the president questions that the candidate just got asked, what past experience do you have that will prepare you to be the Vice President academic?
Awesome. Thank you for the question. So yeah, I've worked with the union for a bit now. In the past, I was a returning officer. I worked closely with the elections team and kind of learned the ropes. From there, I moved on to be the chair of council. And so the chair of council works really closely understanding internal structures as well as committee structures and sits on a lot of committees, which is really similar to the vice president academic experience. Though these committees are on Senate, you do a lot of committee work as well as like working with student representatives, which is the chair of council's main role. Additionally, I worked for Students Nova Scotia this year, and this is our provincial advocacy board for the Students' Union. And from there, we worked with educators and different government departments, kind of advocating for different accessibility policies, which is a tenet of my platform, as well as consultation frameworks. I've been developing one alongside the executive director, which is another tenet of my platform, and just advocacy work on a whole. So I kind of have this dual set of experience of the internal, less advocacy side of things, as well as that advocacy side, both which are key for the vice president academic role. Thank you.
Thank you for the first set of questions, candidates. The next one will be directed to our presidential candidates again. Sarah's going to ask it, and this time the order of responses will be Sophia first, then Drew, then Brendan. So Sarah, you can go ahead.
All right, great. Sophia, what measures will you take to ensure transparency and accountability for the Students' Union?
I think a big part of transparency and accountability in the internet age that we live in and grew up in is definitely how you market what's going on. So I think changing how we market and use our marketing and use our Instagram platforms and Facebook and all those, I think that needs to change in order to better inform students of what we're doing. And with that transparency comes accountability, because students will know what we're doing. They'll be able to ask questions, infer, like break apart what we're doing, and like call us out if there's something wrong. And I think changing how we market and changing how we engage with students and get students to engage with us is a huge factor in that. I also think that the approachability aspect of it, so ensuring that students feel like they can come to the fourth floor and talk to us and ask us questions about what we're doing, so that we are staying accountable to students and that students are able to use the union for what it's meant to be. I think that's also extremely important. And so ensuring that the exec is constantly looking approachable and looking like they're open to having questions answered is extremely important. And hiring people and looking to hire people who value transparency and accountability is extremely important as well. So I hope to do all of that if I'm elected.
Thank you, Sophia. And Drew?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. And I think it is need of an hour as we move through difficult times from change to change. Like we have been going from online to in person. So I would kind of divide that thing in two aspects. So one is like institutional transparency and accountability. And one thing that is like we have to stay accountable to students and stay transparent to students. So for institutional transparency and accountability, it is extremely important that we are being consistent with everything that we do, and we are collaborating with our representative councils and then people that we employ in order to stay as a knit community and as a knit union in order to work towards our goals. And the second aspect, or B, what we call is that we have to stay accountable and transparent to our students, that we can do it by using different social media platforms and then being as approachable as we have to be. And another aspect that we have to make sure that is that like we have to stay connected with chair of council in order to understand what's going on at institutional level in terms of transparency and accountability, and understand the need of time and the moment.
Great, thank you, Drew. And next, Brendan.
Awesome, thank you so much for the question. Yeah, I really think that accountability and transparency are both two really important parts of a students' union, or any union for that matter, just given the fact that a lot of the positions are elected and are representative of various groups of the student body. So I think one thing, right now we have council meetings, and those council meetings are live streamed. which is a great way for students to get a very in-depth understanding of what council does. But I think another thing that would be interesting to look at is after council meetings, posting just a quick little summary of what was discussed in council. Some places that students are active, like on Instagram, and just allowing students to be able to feel like they have some level of understanding as to what's being decided on their behalf, without having to watch, sometimes, as we all know here, can be very long meetings. So just to save some students some time, I think posting those updates on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter would be really, really beneficial. And it also helps take some of that advocacy to the students. If they're more aware of what the student body is doing and working on, they're able to be more knowledgeable and understand those aspects. I think another key part of the accountability and transparency is the level of communication that there is between the student body and especially the executive team of the student union itself. So one thing I would like to maybe implement next year would be a town hall style event once, twice a semester, where any students can come and voice their concerns directly to the executive team or members of the executive team, and just provide feedback, ask some questions, and understand kind of better what the students want and how we can go about changing that.
Great, thank you, Brendan. Cole?
All right, second question for our VPA candidate. What are some academic barriers that students face, and how, as Vice President Academic, can you begin to address these?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So on campus, there's often very little interdepartmental coordination between faculty in different departments. And so students are forced to navigate these fragmented services as well as fragmented departments, often with archaic pedagogy. And so pedagogy is kind of about like the styles in which teachers teach. And right now, a lot of our classes don't have pedagogy that's super accessible for students, with learning disabilities, or students that just learn in different ways. One way that kind of is best practice that I see a lot of younger professors moving towards, sorry, not younger, that's probably not the best word, but professors moving towards that is a good pedagogy, is scaffolding. So building upon different projects in your syllabus. So starting out kind of with like an essay, and then breaking down these chunks of the essay so that students can really learn and understand and build upon their knowledge throughout their coursework. This is a really big barrier. We don't see it used a lot. And so it kind of can be difficult for students that are really challenged with writing a lot. A lot of classes are really essay heavy or sometimes exam heavy, and you'll have 2 exams that are, all that you get marked on. And that can be really unfair and inflexible for students. And so having more access to a variety in ways which students can learn and be graded, as well as flexibility from professors, can be a really good way to mitigate these things. And so as Vice President Academic, advocating for these types of changes on Senate. Senate is where faculty and staff and students can kind of meet and discuss about things. Students have a really big voice on this. There is student representatives who sit on this alongside me. And so we have the power to make some really big changes there. Similarly, like academics during COVID are super impacted by student well-being, especially when things are all online. Mental health for students can suffer. And so advocating to ensure that faculty work with students and are well-versed and fluent in the procedures and supports those are having difficulties with their mental health can be extremely important to change student experiences. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Naomi. And then, so we're just going to get into our last questions for our presidential candidates and our VPA candidate, but I just wanted to do one more announcement for anybody that joined on late. Just make sure that you send a picture of you watching the debate to @theUofficial on Instagram, and you get an extra chance to win a Starbucks gift card. All right, great. So now we're going to be starting with Drew, I believe. Okay, so Drew, how will you ensure sufficient consultation with the student body to make sure you are accurately representing your constituents?
Perfect. Yeah, that's a really great question. So, as we all know that at council we have elected representatives, and like I have been one of the, I think twice. So it is really great to advocate through them initially and primarily. So reaching out to them and consulting them and their specific uh, constituency based issues and things that they want to be advocated is very primary thing. So regular meetings with counselors is one thing. And another thing that I have put on my platform and I would really love to do if I get elected is to randomly adopt counselors in order to create a really good connections between executives and counselors that get elected. So what we can do is that like we can, like all the executives that are working next year would be selecting counselors randomly and working with them in order to make really good connections. And one more thing that we can directly do is that we can survey them with our new like things like social media and Instagram and TikTok, and the surveying students on regular basis and understanding touch base of how things are going during the semester will really make a great impact. But primarily, I think going with counselors and understanding their perspective of their constituencies is really important to addressing the broader issues of students. Also, oh yeah, I forgot this thing, but connecting with student life on regular basis and connecting with the equity seeking offices such as Black student advisors, Indigenous student advisors, and other equity seeking groups and their advisors would be a really great idea to serve the community as a whole equitably. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. And Brendan?
Would you mind just repeating the question, Sarah?
Of course.
Thanks.
How will you ensure sufficient consultation with the student body to make sure you are accurately representing your constituents?
Awesome. Yeah, so, sorry, just making sure I'm not on mute. So one of the first things, as I mentioned before, I think that mobile office hours are one really, sorry, I didn't mention this, but mobile office hours, which are currently something that are in the Students' Union strategic plan, is something that's really, really going to be beneficial in ensuring that students are being collaborated with and consultated with on a regular basis. So having student union executive members, members of council, and even maybe some sub-executive positions go out on campus and perform their duties, whether that's just taking some emails, some calls from various spots on campus, is a really great way to ensure that, you know, the Students' Union decision-making body and team is out on campus and interacting with the student body that they represent. So I think that's one really important thing. I also want to reiterate the town hall idea that I had mentioned before. I think this is a great way to get direct consultation from students on issues, as opposed to, you know, obviously sending out surveys and things like that are great for getting hard data, but to really be able to feel or to hear what students are feeling and understand any of the issues that they're having or going through, having that face-to-face conversation and facilitating that discussion is a really effective way to ensure that all students across campus are being heard. So I think there's a lot of great ideas there. And I think that working with next year's team to try and understand what next year's student body wants and how they want to be consulted on is definitely going to be the best way to move forward. Thank you.
All right, awesome. And now, Sophia? Good job, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. I think that it's important to realize that although we try our hardest to do some consultation, it's all about time. The U executive was presented with a document this past year that outlined how to do like really solid consultation with your students and all that. But I think what we failed at this year a little bit was ensuring that we factored in the time needed to do solid, substantial consultation with students in order to have what we need to move forward with big projects and with different aspects of our work, especially when we look at our advocacy with the university. Like, how do students want us to be advocating? What do they want us to be advocating for? Which is why I think having the flexibility to change really early on what you're looking to advocate for students is extremely important. And I think to ensure consultation is sufficient and very effective, we need to be factoring in the time ahead of time from when we want to put projects forward. And I think we should also be pushing the university to be ensuring that they're factoring in enough time to do their student consultation. And I think that that also is part of our role at the U, or it should be, is to be pushing the university to also be doing sufficient consultation. So I think there's a lot of great ideas for how to do the consultation, but I think the biggest thing is factoring in the time to actually put those ideas to work in order to actually be able to do it before you start a project or before you start advocating. So that's what I would like to do if I'm elected, is for sure be factoring in that time, as well as having a flexible approach to the start of the year. We start in the summer as executives and the elected president and VPA. So we have the time to switch some stuff around very early on if we want to. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was elected.
Great, thank you, Soph. And Cole?
Alrighty, final question we got for the VPA candidate here. Naomi, how will you promote a well-balanced lifestyle for students, ensuring a balance of mental health, physical health, and academic success?
Awesome, thank you. One thing that I would say that's not super conventional, but I think is really important and kind of goes unsaid in a lot of these conversations about student well-being is housing. Nova Scotia is in the middle of a housing crisis, and I would say your access to housing and also what kind of situation you're living in can really impact your academics. And so through SNS, I've watched different teams, both St. Mary's and Acadia, introduce these tenancy workshops that are all seem to be really well attended, and their uptake was very high. And I think kind of introducing something about this in Antigonish would be extremely beneficial for students and could definitely begin conversations about well-being just outside of the classroom. Because though, as I mentioned in my prior answer, talking to faculty about responding correctly to mental health concerns is a huge thing, we also need to, once again, be looking outside of the classroom on what is impacting students' performance. And this can be housing. Similarly, academics, as aforementioned, are holistic. So providing supports and accessibility for students with learning disabilities or physical disabilities can really change how comfortable they feel in a classroom. Another thing I've noticed is often academic supports, such as the Student Success Center, are kind of fragmented, as mentioned in some of my other answers. And so ensuring that students have the knowledge to access these, as well as perhaps different environments to access different student success models, such as tutoring, or maybe working with the Diversity Engagement Center to provide students from equity-seeking backgrounds with other students similar to them with a similar lived experience to them to access academic supports in a way that's comfortable and helpful and conducive to their learning overall. So creating these ongoing relationships with faculty, staff, and students through Senate, as well as consultation, everybody's favorite buzzword, is a really great way to continue to do this advocacy work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great. So we are just going to get into our closing statements for the presidents. But anybody that's watching at home, if you have any additional questions for our candidates, whether it's our presidents or our VPA, just type it in the stream and it will get back to us. But for now, we're going to start with our closing statements. So Brendan, would you like to start?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think there's been a lot of great discussion, points brought up here tonight, and I kind of want to leave you guys on with one final thought. As your student union president, I would work to ensure that the student union is representative of the entirety of the union's membership, and that crosses into a lot of different things within the student union. But right now, a lot of students are unable to get involved with the numerous roles that the student union has to offer, and a lot of the hired positions that we have in sub-executive positions. And we know that this historically affects marginalized groups at a disproportionate rate. So I think that one way that we can combat this is over the course of the next 3 years, transitioning our honorarium paid positions to hourly paid positions, starting at moving our positions to $13.35 an hour, and then from there meeting the 2024 goal of Nova Scotia to $15 an hour. In order to do so, I'll be releasing a statement tomorrow with more information about that and how we'll actually implement that. But I just kind of wanted to leave you guys with that. And thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you around.
All right, thank you, Brendan. And Drew?
Yeah, it was a fantastic debate and really good points brought up. So, as I said earlier, it is really important for us to talk about environmental and institutional sustainability as it is need of an hour, because we are moving towards a world that is really, really going to be focusing on environmental sustainability. It is really also important for us to move towards in the same direction and take short-term as well as long-term steps. Another factor that I mentioned is the institutional sustainability. In order to achieve that, we have to make sure that we are including everybody, marginalized group. I myself am a minority group, so getting people from different diverse backgrounds, that would be really primary. We will implement, I mean, if I get elected, I will implement policies and then anything we have to do in order to work towards that. And finally, we'll get house basketball, which is going to be really fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. And Sophia?
Yeah, I just wanted to start by saying thank you to everyone watching. Thank you for being engaged and trying to be educated voters. I chose X for university because I could see from the moment I stepped on campus that X students can be impactful, and I hope to represent this impactful body of students next year as your student union president. I really want to up our mental health standard on campus from 6-page policy to close to the 60-page federal policy that Health Can has, as well as advocate for changes to how parking was handled this year, along with many other student issues that affect students on campus, and being flexible in those issues in order to do some consultation early on. So yeah, I just want to say thank you all for coming out, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
All right, and Cole?
Okay. Well, Naomi, I was going to say there's no more questions. Naomi, would you like to deliver your closing statement then?
Yeah, this is my closing statement. My name's Naomi. I'm running for Vice President Academic. Get out there and vote, folks. I hope people feel comfortable with my platform and its main tenets: accessibility and well-being, collaborative advocacy, and approachable academics. And I hope that people feel confident that I have the skills and the experience to support students with this platform. Thank you, folks, and have a great night.
All right, thank you, Naomi. And just reminder, if you still haven't done it, send a picture of you watching the debate to @theuofficial for a chance for an extra draw.
So we do have one question for Drew that someone sent in that they want to ask. So this one is just for Drew, that a voter asked. What does your platform addressing unhealthy masculinities do to support women specifically? And you can just have 1 minute to answer that really quick.
Can you please repeat the question again?
Yeah, sure. What does your platform addressing unhealthy masculinities do to support women specifically?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So it is important to understand that majority of the harm and the whatever causes that happen because of sexualized violence are caused by men, and understanding that addressing unhealthy masculinity would bring change to our community of men on campus. So it is like educating men to be better, and like it is one of the part that is lacking right now. So we have a support system for REEs and addressing victims and supporting their issues, but we still do not understand the fact that problems are being caused by men, and if we address that issue, it will definitely help ultimately women's safety. If that answers the question. If it doesn't, I can explain more if you can ask the person.
I think they're good with that question. Thank you so much, Drew. So yes, I think Sarah, thank you all candidates for coming out tonight, and thank you the viewers our voters for coming out as well. Y'all are the best. Remember to vote. Polls open Tuesday, January 25th. 25th, yeah, 25th at 12:01 a.m. We'll be posting that, and keep an eye out at the U official Instagram for some promotional material from us about the candidates. Thank you everyone again, and stay safe, hail, and health. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have our BOG and our referendum questions coming up right after this. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you stick around.
Hello, everyone. Looking
Hello.
good, people.
Hello, everyone. Oh, can you see me? There we go. Oh,
Not yet, Josh. Now
nice.
you
There we go. Okay, perfect.
Oh,
All
to
right,
see the light of day.
can. Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to the Board of Governors and Referendum Debate. Welcome. Thank you, candidates. Thank you, viewers. I'm going to start off with a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that St. FX is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1725. The treaties do not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognize Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik titles and establish the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Right now, I'm in Barrie, Ontario, so I want to acknowledge that I am on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, which include the Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. So how this is going to work is that we're going to start with opening statements and ask 3 questions for our BOG candidates and referenda representative. Each opening statement is 1 minute long response time, and every question response, you have 2 minutes response time. Ashley Hatt here, our returning officer, is going to give a quick little thumbs up reaction thing, the Zoom reaction thing like that, when you have 10 seconds left in each response. So when you see that, just wrap it up really quick. Sarah, do you want to talk about our little giveaway we're doing?
Yes, so we were really excited that we're going to be doing a giveaway for a $25 Starbucks gift card for a student that puts screenshots of them voting and puts it on their Instagram story. But we wanted to support those that are being informed viewers and coming to the debate and learning about the representatives and their elections. So you get an extra ticket in the draw. So if you take a picture of you watching the debate and send it to @BUofficial, then you'll get 2 draws in for the draw instead of 1. So yeah, take that picture and send it to @BUofficial. And if we're ready for it, Rebecca, do you want me to jump right into the questions?
First opening statements, actually.
Yes.
So
Okay.
we'll get Josh first, then Violet, and then Nick, you can go ahead. Just remember 1 minute for each opening statement. And Josh, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Hello, St. FX. My name is Josh Croker. I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta. Currently, I'm on Treaty 7 territory, and I would like to acknowledge that also. I'm running to be your Board of Governors rep because I believe that I can advocate for you the best, that I can represent you the best. I love coming and communicating with everyone here at St. FX. I love building these supportive networks so we can get things done. I like collaboration. I like compromise. I like trying to get to know everyone because everyone has so much value here at St. FX. And I want to bring that to the Board of Governors. I'm a first-year PGov student. I've really enjoyed my time there at PGov trying to solve problems, new solutions, things like that. And that's skills that I believe I can bring to the Board of Governors. Thank you. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Josh. Now, Violet, you.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm using my family's laptop, so we're getting used to everything here. So my name is Violet Silva, and I'm running for Board of Governors. I am running to ensure that students are actively consulted while making decisions, not just after the fact. We are the lifeblood of the campus, and we need to be part of that process. And a little more about me. So I'm taking a Bachelor of Arts and Science in Climate and Environment here at AX, which is an extremely interdisciplinary program. It promotes learning skills from all areas of study, and as such, I have a lot of knowledge in many disciplines, which I think really benefits somebody in the position of Board of Governors. And I'm very passionate about advocating for many issues such as climate change and inclusivity. And as such, my platform includes points on climate change and representation. It is imperative that we, the student body, have a voice, and I strongly believe that many issues we face demand actionable change rather than just advocacy. We can all share posts and articles, but real change happens from actions. And with that, I will yield as well.
Thank you, Violet. And Nick Murray, our referenda representative, you can go ahead.
All right, St. FX, what is good? First of all, biggest thank you to all the viewers who are out here looking at this tonight. You guys are the real ones. Informed voting, I love that. How's it going? My name is Nick Murray. I am a fourth-year student majoring in biology, minoring in political science. But who I am is not important because I am not running for myself. I am not running for any position. I'm running for something greater, a project, an idea. For the past 3 years, I've been a member of the Governance Review Committee, and we have been taking the student union governance, the whole shebang of it, and rebuilding it from the ground up, a more equitable, a more progressive, a more professional governance structure, which we are super proud to be presenting to you folks during this campaign season. I'm looking forward to sharing more about the new act of incorporation in the minutes ahead in this debate and in the days ahead in the campaign period. Looking forward to it. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Nick. And now Sarah and Cole, you can start and go ahead with our first questions for our candidates.
All right, great. So we will be starting off with Violet. So for your first question, what is the most pressing student issue you would bring to the Board of Governors?
Hi, thank you for that. So one issue that I would bring is climate change. It's an issue that affects everybody. Whether you live in residence or in the community, it's my goal to embody the Zavarian way by leading a life of thought and action. In this position, I can thoroughly represent what X stands for by bringing climate change plans to the board. I have 3 short-term plans that allow for immediate action. I'd like to start a system that replaces disposable containers given out at Grab and Go in Bloomfield with reusable ones. And by starting with reusable replacements for what is currently single-use and disposable, we can greatly cut down on our garbage output. And McGill already has a successful system in place for reusable containers that we can build and improve upon. Secondly, I'd like to partner with a company called TerraCycle, and we can use them to help revamp some of the ways our entire community, not just X, recycles. TerraCycle is a company that strives to reduce waste. It allows for us to collect previously unrecyclable goods like toothbrushes and toothpaste, and they pay for the shipping and we send it in to them. On top of that, every pound of goods sent in is worth $1 that we can donate to a charity or school of our choice. By improving the systems in place for garbage and recycling, we can reduce the amount wrongfully sent to landfills. Thirdly, by holding ourselves accountable for energy consumption and analyzing areas where we can work towards clean energy, we can create something that's going to last. We can even look into investing in green energy generation in the long term. We can start here and build outwards towards the goal of net zero emissions. All these ideas have the same goal, to better ourselves and our community. As I mentioned before, we need to take action. We can say that we want to be sustainable all we want, but that won't make a difference if we don't provide results. And so we have the power to make meaningful change that is also effective. So let's not wait and let's make change today.
Great, thank you, Violet. And Josh, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, it's good. Thank you. I understand. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. I find that there's 3 priorities here for me to represent students at BOG. I think the 3 student priorities are green innovation, student wellness, and inclusion. First, I'd like to begin with my green and innovation plan. So we need to make sure we push through each BOG project. We need to make sure that that is a lens we are using, that we have a green lens so that we can have new techniques and new ways to improve our campus. The best things are when we always look for progress. Some of my green innovation ideas have been to eliminate single-use plastics, that we have water conservation techniques throughout the residences, to push for green retrofits, which the province does provide, and there's new federal programs to help us fund some of these things, that we have solar panels and different commitments to renewable technology grids, and that we have like green walls to support fresh oxygen in our bodies while we study and to reduce heating costs. In terms of student wellness, it has 4 tiers, my friends. We need physical wellness. That means we need more outdoor gyms, more spaces. We don't know when the next COVID or something, next pandemic may happen. We need to make sure we have those outdoor resources. Those are something that's popped up throughout the pandemic. So I want outdoor gyms. For that, for the next one, there's mental wellness. And we need to make sure we always expand counseling, that we have different peer support groups, that we can always reach out to new sorts of people. Third is emotional wellness, that we know who to go to, that we have people within our residences that we can really build on, and that they can come to us for BOG reps even, that we have, and we can connect with so many people on this campus. And the final one is spiritual wellness, that we expand something more than just the chaplaincy to just some sort of Catholic organization, but we expand to all sorts of different religious identities, that we can make sure that it's a spiritual campus, something that we can all feel that we belong into. The final part of my platform has been inclusion. This St. FX is such a diverse campus, and we need to make sure that we make sure every program that the BOG's going to do is accessible for people, that we tear down barriers, and that we make sure decisions go through a GBA plus analysis so that everything that we do here on this campus is inclusive. And with that, I yield.
All right, thank you, Josh. And Cole?
All right, question number 1 for our referendum representative. Nick, what is a referendum?
All right, well, thank you for the question, Cole. To put it simply, I think a referendum is the coolest thing since sliced bread. I'm going to get into it. So typically in an election, what do you have? You have candidates running for positions to represent you, the voters, at the decision-making table, to make decisions on your behalf. A referendum, for lack of a better word, cuts out the middleman. It is direct democracy, and it is the direct chance for you, the voters, to make an educated choice. So, but what is a referendum in this context? So when you vote, right? Vote for the president, vice president, academic, board of governors reps. But then there's a final question on it. Referendum. Do you approve to the removal of the old 1972 Act of Incorporation with the hip new 2019 Act of Incorporation? It's not going to say hip, but that's the idea. And it is a yes/no question. And we find that a referendum is very important in this context because we spent a lot of time writing this new governance structure. We feel incredibly confident about it. I feel confident about many things, but this tops the list easily, right? But that's not the important part. What's important is getting direct approval from you, the voter base, the student body at St. FX, and a referendum is the best chance to get your approval. Thank you.
And back to you, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Nick. And now we're going to be starting off our second question with Josh. What is the importance of having student representatives on the Board of Governors?
So Sarah, the students are the university. We're the ones who create it. We're the reason why the university exists. So it's important that for the highest decision-making body, the people who control the purse strings, who have to make the biggest projects, biggest decisions, it is so vital that we are on that Board of Governors, that we are representing us students. Because as time moves on and we shift, there's always new coming students. I'm a first-year student with so many new bright ideas. And every incoming class, we need to make sure we have students' ideas because we don't want to be bogged down. We don't want to stop the progress that we have at the university with new students and new ideas. So we need to make sure we're in there. We need to make sure we're providing our own insight. We need to make sure we're reaching out to so many students, to all those people, because they are all our stakeholders. And we need to make sure we're doing the best for them. That's why I have my 3 priorities that I've laid out. And the BOG is such a different complex and organization. It's really unlike anything else in terms of governance here at the university. Our job as a representative is to go into the Board of Governors and again, advocate for students, launch our ideas, but it's about finding common ground and collaboration because that's what they're looking for. Many of those people that have been on the Board of Governors have been there for many decades. They know exactly what they want to do, how the university runs, what holes to push. So our job is to come in with our new ideas, with our priorities, and make sure we can collaborate with them so that we can find a path forward because they already have decades of plans. They already have a vision for the university. And our job is to aid in that, but also to have student insight. That is my priority if you elect me to the Board of Governors. I want to make sure that we keep moving the school forward and that we have an amazing place to learn for future generations and more. This is the planning that we do now for this Board of Governors that will go so far into the future. So we want to make sure that we get it right and that you elect the best candidates for this position. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh. And Violet, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
All good here. Thank you, though. So the Board of Governors, their responsibilities include making the long-term decisions about the university and the direction that is going to go in. As Josh mentioned, there are already plans in place for the very, very immediate future of the university, but we can pursue these to make sure that they're on plans with what the students want, what the students' desires are to fix the issues at hand. We need to be on the board because all of the decisions directly affect us and we deserve a say in the matter. It is mine and all the other representatives on the board's goal to exist as a voice. Our job as the student representatives is to be your voice. And so we are going to voice the concerns that the student body has when making changes so that they benefit campus. With the rest of the board members being so far removed from student life, we are the direct connection, and they could maybe fail to see the issues at hand, as well as the severity of such issues. By having students on the board, it serves as an avenue for these issues to be heard. The university functions to prepare the next generation of change makers. We are the future, and as it is of the utmost importance that students have a voice in the highest decision-making board on campus. Young people like ourselves are bursting at the seams with new ideas that can greatly improve campus. It is crucial that new ideas circulate the board, or else it can become stale and static. Having students on the board allows for immediate student response with the issues presented. This allows for the board to be increasingly productive, meaning issues can be solved more quickly.
All right, thank you, Violet. Cole?
All right, Nick. So you talked about it a bit in your answer to the last question, but what is the act of incorporation?
Excellent question. So I want to preface this by saying I think it goes without saying, the Students' Union does a lot for the student body. Everything from planning events during orientation weekend throughout the academic year to advocating for what students really need. I mean, that's why we're here, right? Everything the Student Union does is bounded by a set of rules, governing rules, right? And these rules, of course, differ in a hierarchy of priorities. Small policies can be changed on a whim, but the act of incorporation, that is the golden goose of our governance documents. It is the defining document that represents our organization as an entity, especially on the legal level. Effectively, so in legal governmental terms, the Students' Union at its core is the act of incorporation. And that's a challenging thing because because of legal terms beyond my comprehension, the only way to update the act of incorporation, the highest governing body, the highest governing document, is through Nova Scotia's legislature. You have to actually pass it through Halifax and get it done that way. And I regret to inform folks that has not been done in exactly 50 years at this point, not since 1972, which is quite frankly a bit terrifying, I think. However, with that being said, not only is the act incredibly important, but it is also the perfect time right now to change it. The new one was written in 2019, 3 years ago at this point. But COVID happened, unfortunate. But now that we are getting back in almost full swing, and now that there is a majority government in Halifax, it is the perfect time to send it along. So once we get the approval from the students, the act of incorporation will be better than it's ever been. Thank you, Cole.
All right, perfect, Nick. Thank you very much. And right back to you, Sarah.
All right, great. So we are about to start our last question for our Board of Governors rep and our referendum representative. So I just wanted to do one more reminder that if you are watching at home, make sure that you take a picture and send it to @TheUOfficial, and you'll get an extra entry into our Starbucks gift card draw on election day. All right, great. Let's get into our last question. And we'll start with Violet. As you are both first-year students, what steps will you take to gain full understanding of St. FX governance structures?
Okay, well, I'm going to start off by acknowledging that I have experience with leadership and organization, and even more with my past experiences. I've been involved with student councils in the past and as many other student-run organizations. Through these various committees and organizations, I was required to prepare proposals and meetings while managing financing and scheduling. As well, I've experienced working with my own school's administration in the past, which will greatly benefit my time as Board of Governors if I'm voted in. Furthermore, 2 summers ago, I attended SHAD Canada, which is a national STEAM and entrepreneurship program. In my time with SHAD, I worked on solving real-world problems with a team, drafting professional proposals, and presenting them to the board. These projects had real stakes, as one of the 62 projects proposed was going to be funded. My team's project was actually a campus finalist, and this experience gave me many lifelong skills that will aid me as Board of Governors rep. My strongest asset is being able to understand, adjust, and create ways for new policies while making sure time-wise manners are conducted swiftly and efficiently. I also believe it is an asset to be a first year in this position. Being new to the university allows for an outside view that is still dedicated to seeing the campus thrive, but it's not clouded by an inside bias. I can bring a new view to the campus, and I can bring with it new ideas. As mentioned before, I'm in the Bachelor of Arts and Science program, and as such, I've experienced a multitude of classes. It's an interdisciplinary program that leaves me well-rounded and fit for this position. I have taken economic and humanity courses, as well as science courses ranging from chemistry and biology to environmental sciences. With this array of skills, I can not only understand financial and economic decisions, but also scientific details behind proposals. One of the best ways to learn is by doing. And I am prepared for this position, and I will continue to prepare myself by completing extra research ahead of time. By asking questions and preparing in advance, I'm thoroughly prepared for this role, despite being a current first year. I'm dedicated to continuing my educational journey, not only in the classroom, but on my own time to assure that I can perform to the best of my ability as a member of the board. I actively seek out new learning opportunities and will use this as a way to succeed on the board. Thank you.
All right, great, Violet. And Josh, question to you.
I'm a first-year student. I have lots to learn about the governance structures of the university. I've learned that after being elected first-year rep, coming to council, learning that it's a big working machine and there's a lot of different buttons to press to get a lot of different results. You have to be a collaborator, you have to go in, you have to be expecting compromise. Not every idea is going to be just as you want it to be. There's a lot of different rules and regulations, but the more we can work within the bureaucracy, the more we can know, the more people we can collaborate with, the more we can get things done here on campus. And one of the things I've done is I've established a really good working relationship with the current BOG reps, Anna Hansen and Drew Patel. I sit on them with council. I've asked them a lot about what BOG does. They have a BOG report that comes out, a new constituency report. I've learned lots about what BOG does. Even before I ran, I did approach them and ask to learn just a little bit more about what it's like to run for BOG, about what I should expect if I would be elected to BOG. If I am elected, that is something that I want to keep doing. I want to keep asking Drew and Anna about how BOG works. I want to ask the current VPA, the current president, Jack, about what to expect, how this university works, how it functions, and how to get the best results. That's what we're looking for. And that's what I'm committed to doing. As a first-year rep, I've been so lucky to just brush the surface on learning about how to get things done at this university. I've built a lot of great connections and I want to keep that going forward. If you give me the opportunity and the privilege to be one of your BOG representatives, I want to make sure we go into BOG. I want to make sure we get things done. We have so many cool opportunities, so many great ideas, especially as first-year students. We have a unique experience as we are on the campus. We're living in Bishops, McIsaac, so many different residences. Those impacts, them tearing down, for example, Lane Hall and building something new on campus, we will use those 24/7 as first years. Those next incoming people will use those 24/7. That's something we have to remember. So us as first years and then going into the term as second years, I think that is indispensable knowledge that will help the Board of Governors and it'll help the university as a whole.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, Nick, final question here.
I think you might have muted yourself, Cole.
I accidentally muted you, Cole.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't mute myself. No worries, no worries. So I'm going to repeat that from the start, just in case you didn't catch it. So we just talked about what the Act of Incorporation is. So for the final question here, how has the new act improved and why should students vote in the referendum?
That is easily the most important question. I am super happy you asked that. I want to start this by quickly plugging a few social medias. On Facebook and Instagram, St. FX Referendum 2022. As by tonight, the new proposed Act of Incorporation will be posted on both of them. So if you want to get the full look, the full, the full view of it, get your own read on it. It's a great read. It's only 3.5 pages, right? But I'll break it down for you right now why this is an improvement over the old 1972 version. There are three main pillars, right? Three main ideas. First of all, you'll notice it's a lot more concise. We cut it down by a quarter. It's a quarter of the original size. And that is good because, as I mentioned, changing it is the hardest thing you could possibly do because it's taken us half a century. So ideally, when we pass this, when this is the new Act of Incorporation, in the decades ahead, students won't have to deal with it. This is a governance document that students can be proud of in the decades ahead. The second thing is it is more professional. The new Act of Incorporation incorporates much new legal jargon that's been suggested by the student union's lawyer that will allow the student union to be treated more professionally by advocacy groups, by government officials. and allow the union to be treated more like the nonprofit it is, to work more as a nonprofit, which we all want. And finally, the best thing is, quite frankly, this new act of incorporation is more equitable. The wording has been updated to better reflect the society we live in. For example, in the old one, you can find the word chairman instead of chair, small things like that, but these are important things when you add up on them, right? It also clarifies the impeachment policy as well. In the old act of incorporation, the process for removal, the process for removing people in their positions was clearly laid out. But now, with it removed from the act of incorporation, it can be more easily changed to better fit the wants of students moving forward. Quite frankly, I am very biased since I helped write this for the past 3 years. However, I firmly do believe this is a no-brainer. Voting yes is the best thing you could ever do. There's no downside. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, candidates. So now, before we get into closing statements, I just want to reach out to our viewers and ask if anyone has any questions they want to ask either our referenda representative, Nick, or our two BOG candidates, Josh and Violet. You can pop it in the live stream chat right now, and we'll address them after closing statements. And now we'll start with closing statements. Josh, you can go ahead.
I want to thank everyone who came out to view tonight. Thank you for spending a little bit on your Thursday to come and see the democratic process. We have a debate here. We have two fantastic candidates. I thank Violet for coming forward. And this is how democracy works. We have new ideas. We have great things coming. We both have amazing ideas for BOG, and the future is amazing. So I want to say, make sure you come out and vote January 25th. There's a whole day you can vote, 24 hours, my friends. You can start at midnight if you want, or you can vote later. I want to remind you of my 3 top priorities, because I believe they'll be your priorities too. That these are things we need for the future generations here at St. FX. That we have green innovation, that we keep progressing on climate change. Second is that we have student wellness, that this is physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, that we have the services students need, that these are the lenses that BOG's decisions will go through. That's what we'll do. And the third one is inclusion. These are my 3 priorities. I hope you join me and vote for Croker here for these 3 priorities so that we can make sure we have the best generation for X ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Violet, you can go ahead with yours.
Thank you. So I will follow Josh up by thanking everyone who came out tonight. I look forward to the remainder of the campaign period and would once again like to mention that we are the change. We are the students, we are the lifeblood of the campus. If it weren't for us, there wouldn't be a campus. That's the university's job, is to create the next generation of change makers, and we are that generation. And we need to do more than just advocating. We still need to advocate, of course, but we also need to put into action. We need to create plans that will create action and demand results. Especially with climate change, this is an issue that is prevalent, more prevalent than ever, and will only continue to grow. We need to start today so that tomorrow can continue being the bright future that we all want and deserve. And so I want to encourage you all to voice your opinions, to inform those in decision-making positions about the issues at hand. And I would like to encourage you all to check out my full green proposal on my Instagram, Violet_Silva 2021. And remember to vote Violet in the next election. Thank you.
Thanks, Violet. And Nick, you can do your closing statement now.
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much again for everyone who's watching this right now or watching this on YouTube in the days ahead. Nothing important than making an educated vote in the democratic process. You folks are the real ones. Thank you so much. Big thanks to the returning officers and the chair. Couldn't do it without you. You folks are the real unsung heroes here. But for real, the governance jargon, all that stuff can be super confusing. So thank you so much for listening to my spiel. If folks have any questions, any concerns, any comments whatsoever, please do not hesitate to just shoot me a message. Find me on St. FX Referendum 2022 or Nick Murray, any on social media. Also on Monday evening, watch out. I will be doing a Q&A town hall type deal for more information on the new act of incorporation, more reason why you should vote yes. I'll go into it in much further detail that I couldn't do here. So look forward to that. And also, January 25th, you're going to get that email to vote. And folks, when you get to that referendum question, just remember, you don't have to guess, vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you, candidates and referendum representative, for coming out tonight and participating in our general election debate. Thank you, viewers, for coming out and watching our general election debate. Remember that if you want to take one last picture right now, you can, to enter that giveaway for a $25 Starbucks gift card. And thank you again. Don't forget, on this Tuesday, January 25th, voting opens. And thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for campaigning Instagram takeovers that our candidates will be doing in the next couple of days. Those are going to be awesome. So just keep an eye out on the U official Instagram. Thanks again, everyone. Bye. Ciao for now.